freedom reigns.
That's right.
That's all I can do on short notice. So welcome, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Joey.
Future ones. Hello.
So, yeah, so exciting night. Here we are on election night. You know, I think everybody is like one of my cousins said tonight is impatiently waiting the results of an STD test.
For real though.
Right.
So,
Like,
I hope it's only chlamydia.
Yeah, really. This is one that
So
cannot
anyway.
be cured with antibiotics.
Yeah, man. Can you pull that map up? Let's look at that. So there you go, man. This is what we know so far. And all three of us know how to log into a chat room. But there's also a map.
But this is all like still speculation, though. There isn't anything that's said.
No.
You know, this is.
It's speculatory, it is, but let's look at this though.
Well, here's my thing though. In previous elections, by now they would have it plastered all over who's in the lead and who's not.
And right now they're saying it's neck and neck. It's closest race.
But they're not showing any maps. They're not showing any statistics. They're not showing any of that. They're basically saying it's neck and neck. But I think that's not the case. I think that's.
I don't know. I've seen maps being put on different videos. I've seen from Fox, and I want to say from MSNBC or CBS, whatever comes up on YouTube. And I will say that Fox seems more excited, and MSNBC and CNN seem a little more nervous. That's been my take from them. So obviously you're going to have all these pundits that are talking about different pathways that each candidate has to get to 270. But again, the enthusiasm really seems to be on the conservative side at this point. And you're right, it's all speculatory, but I don't know. What's your opinion? I mean, to me, it seems like the left is a little bit concerned. They kind of look like the lady in that ad that you just had to skip.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're very concerned because they know.
Well, let's look at this. I've heard that Atlanta, or not Atlanta, but Georgia is pretty solid, like leaning towards Trump. You know what? Let's
Am
look
I looking at this right? The conservative side, they're saying safe conservative for all the conservative states. No, there's none that say lean conservative. They're just straight up, these are conservative, these are Republican. And all the Democrat ones
are
leaning, but none of them are safe.
That's true. So this could just be a landslide.
Are we looking at 270 to win.com? Is that what you're looking at?
This thing that this is your map. Look, the dark red and dark blue is safe.
It's dark red everywhere that's red.
All the blues are light blue, so that leans. They're not even solid.
Hold on. No. What you need to do is hit reset map to get, this is my map, I think, so I can make it easier for us to like read through it. That's what the actual, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
yeah. My mistake. But yeah, no, so you can see that there's a lot of different shades of colors here, but some places are pretty solid. North Carolina, you know, Georgia,
right here.
Of course, right. The West Coast.
Right. They should just chisel that part off and float it out in the ocean.
You know, if you're going to do any weather modification, start there.
Right. Like the game Dig Dug, just go on, cut that part out. Interesting.
But everybody's saying that Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona are in play. But right now I see that Arizona is starting to lean red, right? I got that right?
Yes.
Yes. Is that leaning or is that safe? I think that's leaning.
That's leaning. The darker it is, the safer it becomes. I'm going to just say that
I think that's safe, actually. Look at Arizona and look at Texas. Look at there's a slight variation in shade, I think. I think Arizona is leans, and I think Texas is likely.
Okay.
And I think Arizona is safe.
Okay.
You see
Well,
that?
Arizona's kind of on the lean.
What is Montana?
Oh, okay. No, yeah.
Montana would be dark red, right? That would be
Okay.
safe.
Montana, yeah.
Oklahoma.
So is Texas? So is Texas is quote unquote likely then, right? The shades are really close, man.
And then Arizona is leaning.
Good, Alexa.
But see, if you take
Okay.
those numbers there, and you just make them a little bit more solid, and you say blue is blue and red is red,
You're right.
and then you leave the swing states. What it does is it puts the Democrats or Kamala Harris at 227 electoral votes, and it puts Trump, if you include Arizona like that has, at 229. So that's where the race begins tomorrow when the polls open, is 227 and 229.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much already saying that Arizona is definitely going to be red. But
That's why I counted it
already, dude. They
That's
stopped.
what I thought.
They're blocking poll watchers in Pennsylvania and in Georgia, so they're already trying to cheat.
All right.
Like, it's already happening. So we'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting one. But I think that even in Pennsylvania, in states like Pennsylvania and Georgia, Trump has crazy momentum that they're not actually talking about.
So with regards to cheating, I do agree with you that I believe that the Democrat Party is going to try and cheat as much as they can. Can you go to 3 spots?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the other one. There we go. So I do think that the Democrat Party is likely, you're going to have agents on the ground likely to try and manipulate what's going on. They're going to use all kinds of tactics. But I think that what we saw in 2020 could be attributed to the fact that there was still a lingering fear from COVID, because it was late 2020. It was the first year that we had that pandemic. And people were very cautious. There was a lot less skepticism in November of 2020 than there might have been in, say, January of 2022, where people were just like, I am absolutely done with your garbage. There's that word again we're going to talk about. So, welcome to the garbage show.
I'm ready.
But again, to get to the point though here, I definitely agree with you that I think that there's going to be people trying to cheat, but I think that the atmosphere was more inviting and conducive in 2020, and I think there's going to be a less chance of them to do cheat. There's going to be less opportunity. They're going to seize what they can get, but there will be less opportunity, and there's going to be more people in Trump's favor because people have the last 4 years to look back on and ask themselves, and if you're kind of middle class, lower middle class, or lower than that, you probably didn't have a great last 4 years. It could have been better. The government could have been helping do things for you, like bringing fuel costs down and the cost of groceries. I say this frequently: stagnant wages. I'm blessed that I got a significant raise this year, but that had nothing to do with the government and only me kind of transitioning with my position. So, and we'll talk about that too.
Transition your position.
Yeah. Where am I? But again, so in regards to cheating, I do think that they'll try, but it won't be. They're not going to be successful on the level that they were in 2020. They're not going.
Well, there's no doubt, man. I mean, they're not going to keep everybody at home mailing in ballots to where they can just drive truckloads in and count them. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there'll probably be a water main break somewhere, maybe.
Near a voting area.
Yeah, somewhere. Something.
Like, I know.
Over a voting machine.
The water tower in the school gym burst.
Right.
Or they'll be looking for like ballots, or they'll find a box of ballots in a closet at the DNC, the day after the election. They're like, oh, we got to count these, 14 million ballots that are in one box or some stupid shit. Like,
but wait, everything changed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nah, so, but I don't know, man.
There's been a lot of like stuff going in place about election interference and stuff, where Georgia isn't allowing absentee ballots after election day, whereas last time they allowed them like weeks after.
That's crazy.
I also, on this whole topic, there was an article that said that service members overseas didn't get their ballots this time around.
This time around.
Yeah.
Well, just for context, Nate is actually a veteran. He's the show's resident veteran so far. So, Nate,
Did you ever
could
vote
you
overseas?
tell me? Yeah, could you tell us about that? Did you ever have the opportunity to vote?
Yeah, I did. I was.
How did it?
Well, I mean, they would send them out to the ship, and then you could fill them in, and they'd send them out. You didn't have to everybody witnessed, right? It wasn't like there was any notaries on board. We just witnessed each other's ballots. But yeah, they gave them to us when we were on deployment, and they gave you time to go and fill out your ballot and send it out. That was something that was protected, and they made sure that we got the ability to do, even though we were deployed at the time.
Now,
that's good.
Do you recall what was on those ballots? Was it strictly presidential? Was it local, county,
It was the
state?
whole shebang. I think it would be the equivalence of a mail-in ballot.
Okay.
It'd be the same, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Same kind
So,
of thing, right?
Dimitri, you're saying that service members have actually this time around have not gotten their ballots?
Yeah, I saw a couple of articles on it yesterday. I didn't really do a lot of research into it. It was just a passing thing, but I was like, man, that would suck if the majority of the service members probably don't vote blue. You know what I'm saying?
Probably
So
not.
they're just like, fuck those people. And
okay,
if you really want to,
reputable source. I got a reputable source here on the topic, and we can put this up. I'm going to send this to you in private chat. This is from Military Times. I would say it's a somewhat reputable source, right?
Oh yeah.
It says many military ballots will not be. Oh, it's actually behind a paywall. Sorry about that. But it says many military ballots won't be counted until after the election.
No, it's not. I see the whole article.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. I got you.
Won't be counted until after the election. What does that mean?
Oh, it's because I have an ad blocker. I'm sorry.
Does this mean there's some type of a delay in the results, or are we?
Yeah. Do you want me to send it to you directly? But yeah, so
there it is.
All right.
I remember Military Times and Navy Times in the PX.
Many states won't know.
Yeah, until days after.
That's just rot with that's just.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that shouldn't be allowed to happen. There should be no excuse for this kind of shit. There should not be changes in the midst of an election. There should not be problems with getting back, especially to our service members, because that's government to government. There's nobody to blame there. They're direct government employees, and
that's a great point. That is a great point.
There's nobody to blame for that. And they had no problem getting all the military their COVID vaccines and making them take it real fast. But you can't get ballots out for the election as if it was some kind of secret we didn't know was coming. That's bullshit.
No, that's a great comparison between those two. Also, yeah, because
to your point,
against your will, you were forced to take an unproven, very new experimental drug. But on the other hand, your vote, it'll get there when it gets there.
That's unacceptable.
Particularly because of the demand that they place on you too. I mean, you're expected to give your life for the country. Your fucking vote can't get in by election day. That's
insane.
I think the military could say to your service member, take 5 minutes and finish this by October 15th so we can have it at your ballot on election day.
Right.
For your poll.
Well, this kind of goes back to that. Well, all right. So our supervisor elections here in Florida is a Democrat. When we got our sample ballots, just as a show of, we got our sample ballots the day we went to vote. So, which was 3 days ago. They're definitely doing this on purpose, not getting shit to people on time to make sure that nobody has any information. And then, they're allowing all these migrants to vote as well by giving them IDs in all the swing states that they're being pushed into. So they're cheating at multiple levels, man. You just gotta.
But Florida is not known to be a state since like 2000 when they had the whole debacle with Bush and Gore. It's not known to be a state that makes you wait past election night to get the results. You typically know how Floridians voted on election night.
Right.
Typically, yeah.
Except for Miami-Dade County.
Yeah, where they find sample ballots in the closet of the DNC down there or something. Like, that's happened, multiple elections. So.
Well, yeah, it's a well-run state as well.
Here in Virginia, we had a Supreme Court case just in like the last week or so where Glenn Youngkin, our governor, wanted to purge the voter rolls of people that were self-admittedly non-citizens that had been put on the voter registration list and were allowed to place votes. They wanted to purge them, which I think a purge should happen before every single election.
Yeah.
Government should go through and, if this person passed away, no longer lives in the state, whatever. But anyway, the Democrats here, down in our, House of Representatives in Richmond, Virginia, they fought them tooth and nail, as did the Democrats on every level of government over the past 4 years as Trump was trying to fix it too. But eventually it went to the Supreme Court and Glenn Youngkin in the state of Virginia won. They said, no, you have the right to go ahead and purge it was like 1,600 names that were taken off. Now, another thing to consider is that, like, if you are a legitimate voter, legitimate citizen, you can always go into the polls even up to election day, up to the last 10 minutes, the last minute, and you can register and you can vote if you can prove you're a citizen. But that's the whole thing. It's all contingent on an ID, which is another thing that the left attacks. They don't want that. It's considered racism. It's absurd.
What is racism is thinking that like people of color can't get IDs. I think that's the most racist idea out there. It's all bullshit. The only reason you wouldn't want IDs or people to prove that they're citizens of your country is if you wholeheartedly intend on stealing an election.
Well, they've done the man on the street thing, and they've asked people in communities that were lower on income level, right, in general, and those people felt insulted. They're like, really, you think I can't get an ID? Like, we drive.
Yeah, you have to have an ID to do everything in life.
Everything. Open a bank account, everything. Yeah. You need an ID of some type. It's standard. It's like,
I don't understand how they get away with it.
Because people are dumb, dude.
It's like the liberal Karens that say that kind of crap. They're like, oh, they don't know how to get it. Like, you don't know that struggle. You walked in here with your Louis Vuitton bag, talking about how other people don't. No, they're so out of touch with reality because they just don't know how it works.
You randomly pick Louis Vuitton. But
it's
no,
true,
I know what you mean.
Stand there and bitch about capitalism on their iPhone, Louis Vuitton bag.
Exactly.
They bitch about capitalism. It's like
drinking their $8 fucking frappuccino.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Right.
Did you get your pumpkin spice latte?
Driving around a fucking Tesla. Driving around a Tesla 3, but bitching about Elon Musk.
And thank God for that Tesla. Kept them in the lane on the way. Probably saved their husband a rim replacement. What a shame, dude.
Yeah,
it could
or
actually
like Trump said,
or maybe
all of their husbands and their husbands' lovers are voting.
Their husbands' lovers.
Their wives.
Their husbands' lovers have IDs.
That's so savage that he talks like that. But I love it. Like, they hate it. It just gets under their skin so bad. I'm like, he's the master of being a troll.
But it's great though,
Roxy.
Dude, that whole set he did at the Al Smith dinner, that shit was so good. It was so
good. Where he told Chuck Schumer, is like, don't worry, you can still run as the first woman president.
Yeah. But he basically said Bill de Blasio was absolute garbage. He's like, I don't give a shit if I'm supposed to be nice. He's garbage.
Come here.
Yeah. Anyway, Well, give me a second, guys. I got to go grab my food before it burns. But I've got some topics that I want to bring up. Do you guys want to just keep the conversation rolling for a second?
Yeah, I got to get Roxy's ball from under the couch. She apparently dropped it, and she won't stop until she gets it. So that's cool.
So North Korea is launching missiles as tests today, and I don't know if you guys read about this, but I'll go through it real quick. North Korea launched short-range ballistic missiles towards the Eastern Sea, towards its Eastern Sea today. South Korea and Japan have both verified that North Korea is launching missiles, testing them, which they weren't doing under Trump, for the record.
No, yeah.
Little Rocket Man stopped all that shit when Trump was in office.
Little Rocket Man. Kim Jong Rocket.
Well, but I mean, dude, like everything has gone crazy in the past 4 years. Shit that wasn't happening. Everybody's just falling apart. North Korea's launching missiles again. China's, man, they're on the verge of invading Taiwan. Like it's really bad. Everything's really bad.
Yeah,
you don't understand how important Taiwan is. Also, like Taiwan is where everything is made. Every superconductor and chip is made. That's why we need to bring our own manufacturing back. But
they talked about that. That there was some facility they were working on somewhere in California, I think, where they wanted to do manufacturing of chips locally. I didn't really look too far into, but somebody mentioned that earlier this year. Project on the horizon.
The Salton Sea, right? That was the it's a lithium deposit, one of the largest in, I guess, the world now, but it's the only one in the country.
The Salton Sea?
The Salton Sea? Yeah.
In California?
The actual production of the chips locally.
Yeah. No, but they need to bring all that back. But all that stuff happens in Taiwan, man. So Taiwan is
it does.
Super important. Super, super important. People just don't realize it. If China takes Taiwan, we can't make shit.
Yeah, we're all gonna be playing Helldivers on 720.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God!
Stop! We're all gonna go back to plasmas.
You won't have any of that face correction, Joey.
Right.
I don't have any. You see these wrinkles, dude? My God.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Right? It's almost like another mouth.
You should put some googly eyes at the top of your head.
We'll consult your head when we have questions.
Yeah. What are the googly eyes say?
Let's go to Joey's head for some details.
Guys, what's happening?
Oh, wait. I got something for that. Hold up.
That's the only wisdom that comes with age.
No, okay. So, we're talking about this stuff. I don't have it here, but yeah, there are a lot of countries that are extremely aggressive. What are you doing?
Crazy eyes.
Oh, but it made it on yours.
Yeah. Oh, wait, it just does it in the middle.
Oh, in the middle of yours.
Yeah. Crazy ass. Well, I had that for the vice president.
Self-defeating.
For when Wallace would look into the camera, he was like, I was like, crazy eyes.
Crazy, yeah. That guy.
So
I'll make some more banners for tomorrow too. So.
But yeah, so we're talking about Taiwan and China, but we obviously have other adversaries too.
Well, it started off by, I don't know if you had heard about North Korea launching missiles into the was it the China Sea there?
Yeah, probably.
Yep, they just did it today. So both South Korea and Japan have verified that it's happening. So it's definitely going on.
Yeah.
Little Rocket Man.
North Korea has actually also sent troops into Russia to assist in the attack on Ukraine. And today, I'll see if I can find the link here in a second, and we'll put it up. But I heard that they're not very well trained, and they weren't able to communicate well with the Russians, and they began opening fire and killed a shit ton of Russian soldiers. The North Koreans did. Yeah. Here, I'm going to see if I can. Yeah.
I read an
Send
article
some
yesterday.
liabilities.
I read an article yesterday about that, saying that the Russians didn't even want them there.
Yeah, I told
Sure
you
they
that in the
did.
last show. I told you that in the last show. Yeah.
They sent some out-of-date robots.
That they're
you know?
very derogatory over the radios about it. So, yeah, North Korean soldiers gunned down Russian comrades in frontline, humiliation for Putin. In a significant development on the Russian-Ukraine war front, Ukrainian intelligence reports claims that Russian troops face severe losses after being mistakenly targeted by North Korean soldiers sent to support Russia's military efforts. So, 12,000 Korean troops were stationed with 3,000 Russians in Kursk, which is near the front line.
God, dude.
Yeah.
Wait, they were what? They were outnumbered by that many?
You can't make this shit up.
Koreans
12,000 Koreans
were with
3,000
Russians, and they were working in a partnership.
That's crazy.
They weren't outnumbered. I mean, I guess you could say they're outnumbered, but they were.
They're outnumbered.
They're in a partnership. They're a coalition of sorts.
Right.
You know?
Right. And
You
yeah.
know?
And
But
the Russians still got shot, so it's not much of a partnership.
I'm not sure how many were killed, but they said significant losses. So
that's crazy.
Which is absolutely And I told you last week in the other show that you could hear the Russians, there's intercepted radio communication saying that they're being very derogatory, saying like, where the fuck are we going to get 3 officers for every 50 Koreans? Like, how are we going to communicate with them? They don't know any of our tactics. We don't know what their capabilities are, all kinds of shit. Probably calling them worse names than that, like.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, yeah, but that's
what. They gun their guys down. A bunch of.
Yeah, that's what I learned today. So, but again, I mean, does that affect us? I mean, it doesn't, but it's sad to hear. But the whole fucking war in Ukraine, I think, is kind of something that should be ended. I believe that Trump probably will be able to end it better than the current administration has been able to. So far, it's a cash cow for Vladimir Zelensky. Since February of 2022, we've been just sending over billions of dollars. So, me personally, I want to see that shit ended on day one.
Such douchebag.
No more fucking money, Zelensky. Figure the shit out.
Coming over here in his pajamas and shit, sucking up our tax dollars while we got homeless veterans. I got no patience for it, man. I don't give a shit about their war. It's not my war. I don't care.
Exactly.
I do not care. I don't. And I don't see why I should. We have bigger problems here.
Yeah. We're done.
Like, we have
That's what I mean. It
just veterans on the streets. Like, it's bad, dude.
It feels like Kamala Harris is representing the industrial military complex. And it definitely it's reeks of Hillary Clinton's hawkishness, And when you cut the fat away, you can see that why somebody like Donald Trump threatens the establishment so much that people like John McCain or Liz Cheney and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are going to hold hands together when they were, supposed to be it makes sense because the guy is actually legit. He's not part of that fucking system.
Right.
In my opinion, my humble, average Joey Exotic opinion,
Well, when you listen to Trump speak on, this is going back to just the size of everything needed for this bullshit. You need a 10,000 person transition team to go in as a president. What do you need 10,000 people for, dude? How many people are just bloat in the government? All that shit needs to go. All that money is wasted. It could totally be used. What? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how many people you need, but I know that you don't need
your assistants to have assistants to have assistants. You know what I'm saying?
Right. like I don't know how many people you need to go in and clear out the bloat, but I agree with you that like somebody like Elon Musk is probably
Well,
perfectly suited to go in there
yeah.
and just cut the fat because
Yeah.
he has done it. He has done it.
Well,
And
they
they
just this is the only chance we'll get in our lifetime, maybe in the history of the country, to shrink the size of the government. This is literally
That's
the only
true.
chance we're going to get.
That's
So
true. If we don't get this one, we're in trouble. It's over.
yeah,
You know, the amount of people that they're going to move across to solidify their seats forever. I mean, and over the past 2 decades, the majority of the time has been Democrats in power. And how's it fair for anybody?
And what we end up doing is continuing to send billions of dollars overseas while, like you said, we have homeless people, and many of them are probably deserving of the second chance. They're not all fucking like meth addicts in lower, LA on Santa Monica Pier just waiting for the next fix. There's plenty of people that have just been beaten down.
Even meth addicts that are American citizens have a better right and have
more of a right for
more
sure.
You're right.
absolutely than anybody outside of this nation. These are American
You're right.
taxpayers. Nothing is
I'm just
government
I'm
funded.
just
It's
saying
all tax
you
funded.
can't look at a homeless person as being like somebody not worthy of a second chance is what I'm trying to say. Like you
Yeah.
can't. Okay, and there's plenty of people that have tried and they're not drinking, they're not on drugs, and they're on the streets. But you're right. I agree with you that even the drug addict has more
even
right
the
to
drug
that than the
addicts.
foreigner does.
I'd rather give the drug addicts money than give it to some dude that comes over here in his pajamas, because then at least those drug addicts don't have to commit as many crimes to try and get their fix, because they're going to get it either way. Give me
Right. They
fucking
might just
money.
fucking go into their apartment and leave everybody alone.
They might, yeah, dude, they might. You know, they're going to get it either way. And no, they're American citizens. It's
And I
not
didn't
an
mean to
aspect
make
of
it sound like that.
morality, you know?
I wanted to point the opposite that like
No,
there
but
are
it
people
is
out there
that
that
though. It
Yeah.
doesn't
they
matter
deserve
what
it.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it is. It doesn't matter what it sounds like. The truth is
Yeah, it's all
always the
good.
thing that sounds
Yeah.
first.
But there
So,
are people, here that definitely deserve that second chance before we send more money to
absolutely.
Ukraine for
Yeah.
a council to say, you know what, we're going to give ourselves a raise, because that's what they're doing. People are giving themselves fucking raises over there. Okay. So
Well,
like
they're
I
doing
heard,
it here, dude. They did it here
yeah,
during COVID.
but
Nobody's
they're,
making money and they're giving themselves $60,000 a year.
I mean, that
raises.
makes you angry. It does, but like it makes you angrier that like a foreign, uh, an employee of a foreign government is capable of giving themselves a raise with American taxpayer dollars. What the fuck? Yeah,
Well,
no,
so I'm still less mad at that foreign government official than I am at our government officials, because they allow shit like that to happen.
Sure.
So if I was a foreign national and the government said, "Hey, you have a way to line your pockets," fuck you. Yeah, I would probably do it too. But like, they're allowing this shit to happen, and they've allowed it to happen by basically pulling the wool over people's eyes, not teaching people how our government works. Like, they haven't taught civics in school in forever.
That's true.
Okay, so nobody knows how the government works. Nobody knows anything about it. So
that's why everybody's against the electoral college.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it should be the popular vote. Like, no, it shouldn't. It should not be the popular vote, because then what you're talking about is like people that live in the major cities are the only ones that get their way. And the people that live outside of the cities that support you, that create the food and create the supplies and everything that you need to exist there, are the ones that are your slaves to whatever your will is. So no, like, and that goes back to what you're saying is that, having stopped teaching civics and other, like educating people on the functions and like the processes of government has led people to further fall into this victimhood and entitlement mentality.
Yeah. I bet that a legal immigrant in this country knows more about how our government works than somebody who grew up here.
I would bet money on that too. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Well,
a legal one. Yeah.
A legal immigrant.
Yeah.
Quite often, other countries have a better history lesson of the United States than the United States gives its own citizens. It's truly the case.
But you have to know all that stuff before you get your citizenship. You have to know all that. So
just in general,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember years ago I was talking to one of my neighbors, and he was a high school kid. You know, he mentioned he was only required to take 1 year history at the time. This is a couple of years ago, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is that? You know, how could you
What are they
ever
even teaching you
cover
in a year?
in
Yeah.
1 year? How could you ever cover? You know, is it like, is it world history? Is it United States history? Surely it's probably a combination. But the
But
United
that's not
States
even
alone,
a
you know, you
year.
need,
You're talking about
yeah, it just,
what, 120 hours? Because it's
that's
1 hour
insane.
for,
There's no way.
yeah,
There's no way.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's a shame, guys. I mean, I imagine how different the world would be if we had, you know, more control over the way that the money was spent. I mean, that's it's all about the money at the end of the day. World would be
Uh,
significantly different if you got to choose and say, you know what, I'm cool paying taxes for that, but for this, I'm not going to pay taxes. And
Absolutely. You should be
through
able
the
to pick where your money
citizens,
goes.
that's right. Through the citizens, we decided, okay, well, I want to put taxes in that. No, I don't want to put taxes in. I'm not going to pay into that. No,
Here,
I'll
I'm sending you a link. Can you pull this up? This is foreignassistance.gov, and this will show you every fucking country on the face of the planet takes money from the United States.
Yeah, this stuff has been happening since, I mean, really, I think a lot of it established in World War II, where you put all these satellite locations around the world.
Yeah,
Never
see,
left.
It
Never
literally
left.
tells you everything.
yeah, and then up in the top right-hand corner, you're going to have funding phase. There's 4 different funding phases in there, and each one is different. Each one is different. So, like, you have to compound all this stuff.
Jesus, dude. All right,
You know,
let's see.
You'll have president's budget request, appropriated and planned, obligations,
obligated.
disbursements,
You are
obligated.
obligated to give
Obligations.
Jordan
$1 trillion to
$1.2
Jordan.
billion.
We'll look at Lebanon
Israel $3.3 billion, just
Hold on,
obligations.
billion. Okay.
and obligations.
Syria, Lebanon, $636 billion. Why are we giving so much money to Lebanon?
I have no idea.
$500 million.
Why are we giving? Oh, that's 800 million.
Yeah.
500 million. I'm sorry. Yeah.
$636 million.
And we're giving $1 billion to Egypt.
1.3 billion.
Yeah. And what is that? $3 billion to Israel.
Billion.
We're giving 154 million to Gaza. Dude, this is stupid.
It is. We give 30 million to Greece. We give
70 billion in obligations.
We only give one. We give 1 million to 1.6 to Italy.
Where the hell? Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. What do we
Justin,
give?
what are obligations? What does that constitute? Do we know?
There's a chart underneath that'll break it down for you.
Humanitarian assistance, health, economic development,
peace and security.
Peace and security. Let's see.
Environmental.
This is the same one, right? Yeah. Okay. That's crazy, man. That is absolute insanity. That's just
nuts. So again, and that's that's a lot of the reason I think that a lot of voters today are thinking about voting for Trump again, because they know that Trump did not want war. At every turn, he steered us away from it. Now that we're engaged in wars, you can see how we're spending an additional like $90 billion or something like that annually between Ukraine and Israel. Plus, like, apparently we're also helping with humanitarian problems in Gaza and Lebanon as well.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, when you add this up, it's so much money, dude.
If you add everything up for, at least when you go to the website, it brings you up for fiscal year 2022. It's like 230 billion. It's $250 billion virtually that goes out of the country annually. It's crazy. I expect it to be higher for 2024 because 2022 only had Ukraine in there. Like 24 is going to have Israel and Ukraine. So I think it's going to be higher than $230 billion for 24.
Maybe.
So anyway,
hold on. Let's see.
Well, what's interesting is a lot of other countries also give out money. The United States is not the only ones, that do give money out. And that's also something to consider. It is a smaller portion of our GDP in comparison to some other developed nations, which is the reality of it. And they are typically of strategic importance where we put our money into. But, at the end of the day, a lot of it is done in Congress. It's it's all done through quote unquote humanitarian efforts. And the problem is we have, not enough representation in Congress. The amount of representatives for the amount of constituents in the United States is far over what it should be. You can't just go, somewhere in your local city and talk to your representative and go bang on his fucking door because you don't like the way he's doing things. Doesn't happen anymore.
You should be able to. That's the way it should work.
100,000 plus. Yeah, it's 100,000 plus per constituent or constituents per representatives, because at some point the Congress and the House realize that, hey, if there's less of us, we all have more power. If there's less of us, we get more power.
That's
So
right.
instead of adding representatives, how they really should have, because when the nation started, I think it was 13 or 15,000. At some point, it was 30,000, right? But now it's over 100,000. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's like 120,000 or something constituents per representatives. There's just no way that many people can be represented by one person. It's just not possible.
Right. But then they're talking about the exponential growth of the House and the Senate and shit. So, yes, but then, like you said, they're not going to allow that to happen because it not only is it less power, but it's less money also. You have to understand, the majority of these people that are in Congress got there because they knew somebody or they got lucky, and it'll probably be the best job they'll ever have in their lives.
Holy shit, man. The U.S. House of Representatives has one member for every 747,000 or so Americans.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
That is insane.
One person is supposed to represent damn near a million people.
3/4 of a million people.
That's insane, man.
Yeah. So I wanted to say, you were talking about Congress, is the one that makes these laws. But also, I've got this thing that I wrote previously. It says, in 1991, the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB, laid out 5 criteria for emergency provisions that they should meet to provide money without any additional approval. It would be necessary, sudden, urgent, unforeseen, and permanent. In 2011, they actually codified that into law. It became that's the standard. There's no oversight. Congress can just willy-nilly say, hey, we want to give money to this. There's no vote. There's nothing. They can just do it. And in a lot of cases, you see where they decide, hey, there's an emergency in Ukraine. We want to give money. And you see how money just funnels right out. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, but just hold on one second.
Because
to go back to what you said, Nate, about other countries giving, donating to defense and stuff like that.
Yeah. We still give the most. It's just a smaller portion of our GDP.
But are we giving to those countries also? So, are we donating to countries that donate as well to other countries? Because that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's all a big revolving door, dude. So think about it, right? So we give all this money to Ukraine. There's other nations that have given money to Ukraine, but the one thing that we didn't do and other nations didn't do is we didn't turn off the interest payments required out of Ukraine. So we give them money and they still give the interest payments back for the loans we give them. So instead of just saying, hey, don't pay the interest that, you're required to give us, we'll give you the money to pay us. It's just a revolving door. Here's some money. You pay us the interest. We didn't shut that off. Neither did anybody else. It's just a big game is what it is. Damn it, Roxy, you're bald again. And we do give more than other nations globally as far as for dollar sum, but in regards to developed nations, right, it is a smaller portion of our GDP than other nations. So other nations aren't giving as much, but they're giving a higher percentage of the GDP than the United States is overall. But it's largely liberals that do this. It's liberals that are cool with giving, the money out for that foreign aid.
Bleeding hearts.
A large amount. Yeah. By a large amount. And it's all worked into the quote unquote budget, but the budget's always at a deficit. We're always in the red.
Okay.
That might be something we pull up on a segment. Pull up the budget calculator and watch it run while we talk and see how much it grows in the length of one second.
I'll do it right now.
Watch it grow, man. It's just a flying number. It's insane. You know, it's kicking that can down the road. Eventually, people are going to have to pay. Somebody's going to have to pay. There's going to be some serious sacrifice, or something's going to collapse. It can't keep going like that. You can't just keep going in the red.
Was it the U.S. budget calculator?
Debt calculator.
Yeah, that
The debt clock. The debt clock.
Yeah, that's more fitting because it's what it is. Continuously going. It's crazy. It just goes and goes, man.
Oh my God.
The liberties of
Yeah, dude.
the people never were, nor ever will be secure when the transactions of their rulers may be concealed from them. That was spoken by Patrick Henry.
Hey, so I just got a text from Spectrum. I've never had this. I don't know if this is legitimate. There's no link and it says, good news, your internet speed has increased. At
No,
no
Spectrum
additional
just
cost.
did that. Yep. They literally just did that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What,
That's
today?
cool.
They did it for us the other day.
I just got the notice of it. That's neat. There it is. U.S. National Debt Clock, real time.
Hold on.
So a baker, bartender, and a handsome man have a podcast.
Yeah, plus Joey.
You're right, Jack's here.
Roxy doesn't like that, huh? No,
Dude,
she
that's
would like
crazy.
that kind of thing. Yeah, the debt to wealth revolution.
How do you get that out of the way?
The Debt's Wealth Revolution? I don't think you can.
I maybe click outside of it. Click on the background.
No.
Takes you to X. But anyway, yeah. Essentially, it's at like $35 trillion we owe right now.
Look at the amount of the debt. God almighty. Go up to the national debt at the top left. There it is. U.S. national debt. Look at that number.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
That is insane, dude. That is insane.
That was just $100,000 in just a second.
Oh my God, dude. That makes you sick. Well, that makes me sick. That's fucking stupid.
It's these representatives, man. We have a system of government that has completely lost its way.
Yeah.
You know, they think they're above the people, and it was never
They're not our leaders.
It's never supposed to be that way.
No, I actually oppose that term. Actually, leaders, they're just representatives.
No, they're supposed to represent our goals and opinions and our, you know, our needs as Americans. That's it.
They're not leaders.
They're not. They're shitheads.
No, I mean, honestly,
they were never meant to be leaders.
They were never meant to be, right?
Yeah, they weren't. They weren't. It was supposed to be a public position. It was a service, you know, servitude.
They're supposed to have a job.
Service.
In their home state, in their
right.
wherever they live. You know, the people they're supposed to be represented.
It wasn't supposed to be a career.
Wait a second, you're telling me that
you're about to lose your.
They're not supposed to have like 2 different 6-week-long vacations a year?
Damn it, Roxy.
No, definitely.
And 100% retirement after what?
What is it? 8 years?
Yeah,
is it
2 terms. 2 terms. 100% retirement.
Yeah, I think it's something ridiculous, dude.
You get a portion of your base pay for like 30 years in the military, for like 2 terms as senator, and you get 100% retirement. What the hell was that?
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It is.
Roxy, move.
Anyway, so you guys want to move on to some other topics here?
Yeah, let's go.
Sure.
All right. So, I mean, I've for a while now have kind of disagreed with you with the position that Gen Z will take tomorrow. Okay. And I've seen other things too. You know, like obviously, I think that Gen Z is more liberal. I tend to think that they're more liberal. I think you can have conservatives out there, but I think I think the issue of abortion matters a lot to them. Now it could matter to conservatives too, and they could make that their stance, like, no, I'm pro-life, but I definitely think that 50% or more of Gen Z is definitely behind Harris.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense.
50%?
50 or more, no less. I don't think any less.
At that age, though, they're more focused on sex is more of a priority for them than almost anything else. Raging hormone, that's their focus.
But
they want to just be able to, live that hot girl summer with no consequence.
Right, Brad Summer. And they've even referred to Kamala as Brad in like a empowering sort of way.
That's pitiful.
I think there's people that are being blasted, like given a megaphone to show that opinion. But I think Gen Z, by most studies, is like one of the least sexual generations so far. They're the ones that aren't going out and dating and doing all that stuff.
Where do you see that?
Dude, hold on. Let me see.
I know I know it's one of the gayest. I think it's like 20% or something is like identifies in some way as gay or trans or whatever.
Right, non-binary.
Right.
Maybe, which is probably why they're not having as much sex.
Oh, they're just
could be
not conventional sex, maybe.
Right.
Wrong hole.
We can use liberal like sites if you want, the LA Times or the New York Post. For what researchers say, it's an array of reasons, including technology, heavy academic schedules, and an overall slower emotion process of growing up.
Well, that's an interesting take, considering that girls are starting their periods younger with all the stuff that's in the water and all the stuff in society, right? So I don't know. I think the maturity levels are hitting faster. Now, maturity is a debatable term, but like sexual maturity is a lot sooner now. Girls start their periods a lot sooner now. So that's a factor too. I mean, I don't know if I.
And we definitely know that there's additives at least in water. I mean, RFK himself was talking about taking fluoride out of the water on day one.
Yeah, it's interesting too.
Yeah. You should be getting all the fluoride you need through your toothpaste.
Right. You don't need to drink it.
I mean, that's something that I've known since I was a kid.
Yeah, even psychologytoday.com. Like it's I've heard it so many times. It's not even like something new. I hear it all over the place. That Gen Z is just less sexual.
Well, it would correlate with what Elon Musk talks about.
Let me rephrase. They probably intake more porn and like virtual kind of sexual stimulants and stuff like that.
You're right.
But they're not out there looking for partners, and especially like the way of the dating scene nowadays, like women have absolutely lost their fucking minds as it is. So you kind of don't blame them, but a lot of them
you're right.
don't know what's going to happen, so they don't want to have kids. You don't know what the fuck. You can't afford a house. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know where anything's going.
I don't think a lot of them even value like children at all.
I'm telling you, man, I disagree with that.
I think a lot of them look at it as a clump of cells.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's a disconnect of like the human aspect of it, right?
I think the crazy left liberals that get the megaphone, that are amplified, are the ones that say stuff like that. I don't believe that the majority of Gen Zers, now millennials, yes. Millennials, for sure, 100%. Gen Z and then the younger generation, I don't think they're like that.
I disagree. I think female Gen Zers, probably like 3 out of 4 are that's a very important issue to them, is women's rights, the right to choose. I feel that is a huge issue to the 25 to 18 range.
A lot of them want a very traditional lifestyle, Joey.
A lot of them.
I also, to Dimitri's point too, with the whole porn and stuff. I mean, look at the growth of like OnlyFans, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Have traded in the prospect of a real partner.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they'd rather stick a toy in themselves and make money doing so.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of females.
But guys would also rather pay to watch something like that than actually go interact on their own.
Second highest industry in the United States, sex.
So that also says a lot.
What's the first? Pharma?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably.
Or war?
Or tobacco.
No, not tobacco.
I think it's probably medical. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
If you look, the 2 biggest industries, I believe, the government has their hands all in is pharma and military, and then porn, which the government doesn't have their hands in as much, but they do still as far as censorship. Like in Virginia, you can't really look up porn sites. We don't have access to Pornhub here. If you come here without a VPN, try to look up any porn site typically, we don't have any here. Did you know that was even a thing?
No.
Yeah. You can test it. When you come up here, go to Pornhub, it doesn't work. It'll bring you up a video and complain about, the laws in Virginia need to be changed. And a lot of that has to do with verifying your identity so they can ensure that children don't get access to pornography.
Well, and they say it also has to do with sex trafficking.
Could
They
be.
say that's an aspect too. Well, that was something they stated. That was part of the logic of like, well, let's regulate it more or block it more. Yeah, because you're right.
Be interesting. What are they saying happens that connects sex trafficking to pornography?
Because there's so much money in porn itself and in selling porn, and so if you can make a profit from it, somebody's going to do something that's going to be illegal to
True. I see.
circumnavigate it, right? So
That's probably
you can't find willing partners. You're going to make a willing partner that's not really willing, right? So they're going to profit from it.
Yeah.
Cash cows, right?
Most
Why buy the
important,
milk when you can get the cow? It's a shame. That's the reality of it. It's fucked up, but it's where
and the exact opposite ideology is used in finding a partner. Why buy the cow if I can just get the milk?
Yeah, true. It's hookup culture.
I
think it is. I think it is. A lot of the millennials are hookup culture now.
I'm not sure where porn falls into this chart.
All these women that say no sex on the first date, please. If you're looking for sex, those are the ones you match with.
Right.
I know this firsthand.
All right, so this chart I found says U.S. GDP by industry. So.
Oh yeah, gross domestic product.
Hey, can you put it up for us?
Yeah, it's just a little.
Well, GDP is going to be more.
So
healthcare is going to be one part of it. Probably pension plans and shit's going to be part of that too.
Yeah, I'll just pop it up and we'll look at it.
Yeah. But I'm more talking about spending.
So it says professional business services, manufacturing, real estate, health, social, educational, finance, and insurance is $2 trillion.
Yeah.
Real estate at 3.3, and this was last year, I think. Yeah.
Consumer spending.
Yeah.
Yeah, spending is where.
We can pull that up too. I can find one of those.
Which is going to be different.
Yeah, for sure.
Because production obviously is going to be one thing, but housing up there, housing, transportation.
I would say so. We'll go.
Let's see. It's interesting. The most profitable industries does entail life insurance and annuities and pension plans, portfolio managements, trusts, estates, private equities.
It does?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, there's got to be a lot of money in that, dude. They're taking.
Oh yeah. I mean, insurance, right? Like you pay for it until you need it, and then they chastise you for using it. Kind of makes sense. You pay all that auto insurance, and then the moment you need it, they fucking blow your costs up on you. And life insurance and annuities and stuff, yeah, that makes sense too. Especially with a thing like viaticals, where you can sell your life insurance before when you're just down on money. You could sell it, and then when you die, they get rights to it, and they give you a portion of it up front. Those exist too. That's like double selling the insurance.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, viatical. Yeah, you can sell it prior.
Huh. That's interesting.
Right. They get access to it. When you die, you just pledge it to them.
But they give you the full amount of your policy?
They give you a portion. You sell it for a portion.
Oh.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes you wonder, right? It's like, hey, you know what? I got a nice life insurance fund. I can cash in on that now, and then I'll just give them the.
How many of those can you open?
It probably just depends on the dollar sum you have and the company you use, and whether you're using like a shitty company that's going to rake you through the coals, you know.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to still pay your premiums? You know, are you fully paid up on your premiums? Do you got whole life, term life? You know, what's it entail? Yeah. Maybe some companies going to kill you off.
Don't lots of companies now just make money off of selling services? Like Uber and Lyft make a ton of money and they don't own any cars. You know,
right?
All the food delivery services. You know,
but they link the consumer with the buyer. Uber Eats, right?
Yeah.
They link the consumer with the seller. You know.
Well, Netflix is a little bit different because they actually produce things too, but essentially,
right? But I get what you mean, right? Like somebody else is making the entertainment, and then they're using the platform to bring that to the consumer, so they're the intermediary there. Yeah, there's huge money in that, man. OnlyFans, same thing, right?
Yeah,
People that own OnlyFans aren't in there spreading their cheeks, but they're selling the cheeks.
Well, and
right? It's like
even that was meant to be something else. Like that was supposed to be for like all kinds of performing artists to be able to be out there, and it turned into like horror central, basically.
Right. Wasn't there a period of time where OnlyFans tried to backtrack on that? I feel like I've read that at some point where they were like,
yeah. They were trying to like find DJs.
And then I guess they maybe did the budget and they were like, oh, you know what? Never mind.
Well, then they realized they weren't going to make any money.
Like, wait a minute. No, we're good. You can keep doing that.
Yeah. I think that was like last year.
Good. I remember when that happened.
It was like a year or two ago. It wasn't very long ago. Yeah.
In the last couple
where they were like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're gonna have OnlyFans DJs and like, yeah,
right.
Because if you have the opportunity to pay me $1.99 a month, or some girl who's gonna spread her cheeks $20 a month, you're gonna spend $20. You know you are. You'd be like, oh man, I'm sorry, bro. I got bills and shit.
Bro.
Yeah.
I got bills.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, but you know, come and play a show for me. It'd be great exposure.
Right.
Like, yeah, I think you're getting all the exposure you want off of OnlyFans.
Right.
So,
well, somebody's going to tap that market. There's going to be a naked DJ out there somewhere making both sides of the money.
Yeah, and she'll probably have like big tits.
You know what,
too.
Joey? I mean, hey man, get out that. You spin those tables with something other than your hands.
Yeah.
That will sell.
Lay down a mean track. Yeah. But yeah, no. So
laying down some beats.
So what do you think, though? I mean, because like I'm going to switch the topic here. We're going to go back to the election. I mean, who do you think really has the momentum? Trump. I know you like Trump, and I like Trump too.
No, I actually think he has the momentum.
Yeah, I do too.
What signs are you seeing that like reinforce your opinion?
Even the liberal media is turning on Kamala in different areas.
But it's not just that. Even Nate mentioned it earlier. They've done the whole man on the street thing. They've gone into like the hood and asked people, Kamala or Trump.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not voting in that Indian ass bitch. Fuck Trump all day. Like, bro, it's everywhere you go.
Well, so what I think, and I'd like to get y'all's opinions and what you see also, but I see when the liberals that are surrogates for Kamala are getting online, they seem angry and they're lashing out. I mean, they've used all kinds of like terrible rhetoric and awful like, you know, insults against people that don't agree with their views. I mean, we've heard garbage, we've heard Nazis, we've heard fascists, you know, deplorables, you know, all kinds of things. And now they're getting up, like, so for example, on the 29th of October, we had Joe Biden call Trump's, you know, supporters garbage, right? There was the whole thing here. Yeah. He's like, the only garbage.
Tattoo.
The only garbage I see floating out there are his supporters. And then his demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. Like, he didn't say anything. It was a comedian that opened the show that said it, and Joe Biden's over here like blaming Trump for saying the words. That's his exact quote. And then on November 2nd, which was just 2 days ago, was what, Saturday? He's like, you can't even understand what Joe Biden says to begin with. But let's see. There's one more thing Trump Republican friends want to do. They want another giant tax cut for the wealthy. Now, I know some of you guys are tempted to think that that's a macho guy, but I'll tell you what, man. When I was in Scranton, we used to have a little trouble going down the plot once in a while from the greeneries. What the fuck does that mean?
Is this the one where he wanted to smack Trump's ass?
But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you'd like to smack in the ass. And then he grits his teeth. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
The weirdest shit I've ever heard.
I couldn't decide if that was real or AI generated.
Which is a whole nother topic to talk about, man.
Right. But like, oh my God, if it was real, dude, oh my God. It was the cringiest fucking thing ever. It was so bad.
I know, like, yeah, like, what the
Crazy
fuck
eyes,
is this,
dude.
man? I mean, don't forget, like, what was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? He was talking about wanting to take Trump behind the barn and like, beat him up or something.
Yeah.
Is that what he wanted to do? And it's like, hopefully,
he's just a lost old man. He says what they tell him to say, and then he throws in his 2 cents, and that's where it goes too far. Like the garbage comment, he said what he was told to say, for sure. It's not that he has an independent thought, and his independent thought was his voters are garbage. That was his thought, But he comes up and says what they tell him.
That makes sense.
100% trying to sabotage Kamala.
You think that's the case? I think he's just a lost old man. I don't think he's got the cognizance to sabotage anybody but himself, and not knowingly either.
I kind of think. I think that there is some bitterness there too. I mean, I think there is a cognitive problem, but like he was forced out. Like he had already had people that had voted for him in the primary, and he was forced out. So like I think that he does have some bitterness there, and I think he goes in between wanting to help and not giving a fuck.
Well, yeah, because he stood up there like the crypt keeper at first and said, "Let me be clear, I'm gonna stay in the race." And then shortly after, Auntie's making bacon, and all of a sudden she gets a call. It's the president.
Auntie's making bacon.
Bullshit, dude.
That's great.
Yeah, please, man.
Can I have some more bacon, Auntie?
Right.
That's hilarious.
Dude.
It's the president on the phone. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting this phone call at all.
No. You want me to take over? No, man, please.
She answers with her Rastafarian accent. Yaman.
Oh, I love you too.
And then she goes back to washing the collards in the bathtub.
Right.
Washing the collards.
Dude, she's awful, bro.
Awful, man. Absolute, just. Detestable under the Lord.
Yeah, no. She's incapable of speaking an independent thought. If she hasn't rehearsed it, I mean, the woman took 2 days off of campaigning to rehearse for NBC or CBS interview, like a friendly platform. You needed 2 days, and then to turn around and say that Trump seems tired, like who are you talking?
He did 3 rallies today.
Well, and she did a lot too, but he went to 3 different states.
Yeah.
I believe it was North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan that he went to today.
He ended in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what? And you're telling me there's no chance, dude. There's no chance unless they cheat.
They keep repeating the same lie about what is it, Project 2025, even though he's like
nuts. Yeah,
like if you look on Twitter, her official Twitter account repeats the same garbage, like the whole what is it? What happened here in Virginia? I forgot the name of the place where they had they keep saying though he supports fine people.
It's just
that was
crazy
in
to me.
Charlottesville, North
They're
Carolina, dude.
disproven
Charlottesville.
lies.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
disproven, debunked lies, and
He
yet
was
you're blatantly lying to the American people in their face. You're you know you're lying.
right. He said
And
there's
you're
fine
just sitting
people on
there.
both sides of the debate about statues, not
Yeah.
fine people on both sides of people out on the streets. Like that, his
That's never
comment.
resonated with me anyway. That's never even. I don't think that resonates with anybody. I think it's a last ditch effort to get some attention.
Yeah,
You know,
well, it
and I
was
think
like
it's
a
useless.
first ditch because we've been hearing about this for 4 years.
Well, when all else fails, right? You know, and you can't assassinate the man, and you can't persecute the man, and you can't hate people. You can't make people hate him. You know, you repeat what you got. You know, it's crazy. It's like you just repeat the same lie until you believe it.
That's when you decide to play Madden with fucking AOC, I guess.
Right? Yeah, you know, it's.
And of all the people,
Well,
why her? Why would you play like as if she fucking plays Madden?
yeah,
Fucking
I
AOC
doubt
with her
it.
Chick-fil-A bag at the Met Gala.
Yeah,
What a joke.
yeah,
Tax the rich,
seriously.
but not me.
Yeah, tax the rich as I go party
Not
with
me.
them.
With my
Yeah, the only place she
$30,000
belongs.
ticket, and you know,
Yeah.
okay.
The only place she belongs on the stripper pole, dude.
No, get her ass back behind the bar, you know, whatever.
Ah, bro, she'd be the most annoying bartender.
Probably at this point.
That's awful.
No, she
That's
can
it.
serve drinks. I don't care. She can serve drinks, but tax her tips.
Yeah, tax her
Just hers, though. Just hers, though.
Don't give her taxes tips. Just give the tax
Fuck that bitch.
They told her roll tonight.
Yeah, I'll put her right back. Put her back behind Applebee's on Dollar.
That would be awesome, though, man. No tax on tips.
No, but
You
dude,
know.
she worked in DC at some bar where all these fucking people go.
Oh,
That's the only
that
reason
makes
she got,
sense.
you know,
She worked in New
it's
York.
not like she was randomly working in a bar somewhere. She was legit chosen by the DNC in DC.
Right. She was.
I think she lived in New York.
Or wherever it was. Yeah,
It
wherever.
was in New York.
Okay.
And the
But
story, I
that's-
think, was she was going against some person who was there for a long time, and they didn't like him anyway. And it was a young, fresh face,
Yeah.
you know, talking about new ideas, even though they're complete garbage because the Green New Deal is absolute garbage. You know, oh, we're gonna stop fucking like, you know, providing food for the American people by, you know, what is it, cattle. They want to ban, you know, raising cattle, and what is it, no more airplanes. So yeah, she can fly her private jets, but you got to take a train to go to California.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Which,
Let
if you had the time, wouldn't be that bad.
No, I mean, I would totally
Oh
take
my
a train
God.
out to the West Coast too, but as like a late in life bucket list thing, because it'd be fun. You get the full cabin and everything, you know. Like I would totally do that with Eva, but
No, fuck that. I'm way too bitter for that. I'd rather sit on a train inside a car with the AC on running while the train moves. That's how bitter I am about that shit.
I've actually put my car on a train before from Orlando to Virginia.
Turn it on, run the AC.
It's really cool, actually, man.
The
And at the time, I owned a Corvette, and it was sweet.
Yeah.
So, anyway, guys, tomorrow night, I want to like try and watch the results coming in live. I'd like for us to maybe kickstart around 8 o'clock. Would you gentlemen be interested in participating, and we'll just kind of watch all this stuff live?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so one thing that we haven't really discussed is it's more than a presidential race. There's Senate and what is it, Congress. So there's going to be a major shift, I believe, in the House also. You're going to see, I believe, you'll see a majority Republican take over. So there's more than just a presidential race that we can be watching tomorrow. But with that being said, yeah, gentlemen, do you guys want to call it here? We'll regroup tomorrow around 8.
That sounds
Tomorrow
great.
around 8 sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, y'all have a good night, and this will meet up soon. Do not let your heart be perturbed.
It will all be all right.
Yeah, it will be.
God.
See y'all tomorrow.
All right. Bye.